Nothing contained in this podcast should be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. This content does not represent our respective employers and is purely the opinion of the podcast hosts. We are not your personal medical providers. Sorry, friends. So, if you have concerns or are seeking a diagnosis or treatment, please seek individual advice from a healthcare provider in your area. We are not liable for any risks associated with acting upon the information contained in this podcast. This is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only, so enjoy the ride.
Please drink responsibly and in moderation. Before drinking, please be sure to be of the legal drinking age for your country. We do not encourage the misuse of alcohol.
Welcome to Medical Media Mixer, the perfect cocktail. I'm Nicole Peniston, psychologist.
And I'm Tara Prisco, physician assistant.
So we're here today at Reckless Town Farm Distillery in New Jersey. I don't remember what town.
We're Southwest Jersey with lots of farms.
Yes, here they are. So yeah, we are here to drink and chat as we always do every week, but now we are on location somewhere.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk about stuff today that's a little bit more things that we don't want to cover an entire episode on, but lots of crazy random TV shows and things like that.
Yeah.
That are just way wacky and out there.
Yeah. I actually started watching one this morning that you didn't know about. So we can add that in at the end. But before we start gossiping and chatting, they've got some amazing cocktails here at Reckless Town Farm Distillery. I'm going to get it right.
The farm and the town. Just want to jump places.
So Tara is starting with the Fall Fig Lemonade, which is the Dust Settler vodka, fig, juice of a lemon, rosemary anise, syrup, eggplant bitters, and seltzer, which sounds delicious. And I am starting with the Southside Jane, which is cucumber-infused Dust Settler vodka, the juice of a lemon, house-made Amaro, and mint syrup. So that sounds delicious. We will be getting those soon, so we'll let you know how they taste. But they have a lot of really cool cocktails, and I forgot to tell you, when I went to order, they have other just standard cocktails that we could order too. And it's hot. It's 80-something degrees at least.
We're nice in the shade, but it is gorgeous.
People are still in shorts and tank tops and loving it, but today's a beautiful day, thank goodness. So we are outside. Yeah.
So, which of our crazy shows do we want to start with?
I mean, there's so many. So today, everything that we're going to talk about is a documentary. So I thought that was fun because sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to start with? Should we start with the oldest to the newest?
So the oldest is what?
Take Care of Maya.
Take Care of Maya.
Yeah.
Now, I watched this a long time ago, so I had to go and look up a recap to remind myself of all
I rewatched it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So Take Care of Maya is on Netflix. It came out, I want to say 2018 or 19.
Yeah,
we're not as good with our references today because we're just going blind.
Yeah.
So it came out in 2018 or 2019. And do you want to talk about what it's about?
So it's about a young girl. Now, I don't remember exactly how old she was when this all started out.
I believe she was 12, 11 or 12.
Around 11
preteen.
or 12, where she was having this extreme pain in her leg and her foot. And she saw multiple specialists, and her mother, who was a nurse, was advocating for her and trying to figure out what's going on, and orthopedics and neurologists, and nobody could quite figure it out. And physical exam findings, I guess, weren't really showing what they believed was this extreme pain. So at some point, the mother took her to Mexico for some sort of off-label treatment.
Yeah. So what happened was they met with a specialist who diagnosed her with
CRPS,
complex regional pain disorder,
which also used to be called regional. It had a different name.
It used to be called something else. Yeah.
It'll come to me.
Yeah. So she did find a specialist who recommended ketamine treatment, and ketamine treatment is still pretty controversial in the U.S., but at that time, I think it was completely illegal in the U.S.
Oh, reflex dystrophy.
Okay. So this specialist diagnosed her, decided that the best treatment for her, because she wasn't responding to other treatments, was ketamine therapy. So she went to Mexico and was placed in a ketamine coma. So that's more intense than the typical ketamine therapy that we see talked about online or in TV shows, where this is high doses of ketamine for a short amount of time, where essentially you go into, it's not a full coma, it's like a semi-conscious state, like a twilight almost, and you're in that for several days. And then once you pull out of it, your symptoms reduce. And so this therapy was very, very successful for Maya for, I believe it was 2 years, until it all started to come back again. And so that was when we jump into what Tara was talking about, how the mom took her to a hospital. And that's where things went sideways.
Yeah. I mean, so the hospital staff really started to be concerned that possibly this is a Munchausen by proxy type scenario. And eventually there were some court proceedings where the parents were then excluded from seeing her, right?
Specifically, the mother was excluded from seeing her.
I don't remember.
Yeah. And I think some of the background was that is because the mother was a nurse, they felt like she was intentionally doing things because she had that medical knowledge. So it was making it harder for them to determine what was going on. Meanwhile, this mother is really just desperate to get her child the help that she needs. She had provided documentation about that prior diagnosis and those prior treatments. So it wasn't like she was hiding anything.
Right.
But these doctors were not hearing it. And I think a big part of this is talking about medical child abuse, which we don't necessarily call it Munchausen by proxy anymore. So medical child abuse, and the hospital had a specific doctor who specialized in that. So she jumped right in and was convinced that that was what was going on. Right. And that was what led to this court proceeding where the mother was prevented from having any in-person contact with Maya. She was allowed to have monitored phone calls, which is just heartbreaking when this little girl just wants to hug her mom and she's not even allowed to see her. Right. And the father was allowed to visit her, but they were very closely monitoring everything. And do you want me to talk about the punchline, what happens?
Yeah, sure.
So it gets to a point where they continue to have these court meetings about what is going to be the outcome of this, because at this time the hospital was holding Maya the entire time to keep her away from her parents, but a hospital can't sustain that. Even these specialized hospitals, they can't give a bed to someone for years at a time. So there was a hearing, and it was really heartbreaking. In the hearing, the mother asked the judge, can I just hug my daughter? Like, everything else you say is fine, can I just give her a hug? And the judge said no. And Maya's mother went home that night and committed suicide, unfortunately. So it does show like some follow-up later now. Her and her brother, right? Yes.
The brother and the father are interviewed in the later scenes.
And so what they're doing now at this point is Maya eventually, they did find another doctor who was part of this hospital who did confirm that prior diagnosis of the complex regional pain disorder, gave her some, I don't believe it was the ketamine treatment again, but gave her another treatment that did help her be well enough to leave the hospital. And now we're fast forwarding several years later where the family is suing the hospital for wrongful death of the mother, which is very complicated, hard to prove. So the courts keep putting off the case and putting it off and putting it off. And the whole family is just devastated. They've lost their mother, their wife. Luckily, Maya is in a better place health-wise, but it comes and goes. It is a chronic disease, so she can have flare-ups. And just the stress that this poor family is under trying to get justice for their mother. But a really interesting part that I forgot about until I rewatched it was they identified other families who that same doctor had accused of medical child abuse and was wrong.
I forgot about that, yeah.
So this particular doctor really had, her idea of what she's going to do. And, we've got cocktails. Yeah, that one is mine. Look at this beauty here.
Nice.
Thank you.
Right.
So look at these. Cheers.
These are so pretty.
They are. Delicious. So as I was saying, this doctor had done something similar to other families. None of them resulted in suicide. Eventually, most of the families were reunited, but some of the parents had been put in jail for some time. So it was something that this doctor really had a very tunnel vision for, only looking for medical child abuse, which isn't always what's happening. Sometimes it is a rare disorder. Sometimes there is medical child abuse. And so I think she was trying to err on the side of caution, but it was causing a lot of harm to families.
Right. I mean, in the end, the family all paid the price. Every single one of them was hurt by this. So complex regional pain syndrome is very tricky. We are learning more and more about it. In primary care, I've come across a couple patients who do have this diagnosis. And some of them, it's often after like an injury or a surgery. And essentially, what we understand is it's a weird feedback into your nervous system from something, almost like how your immune system can overreact to things that it's not allergies, autoimmune diseases, same kind of concept where your nervous system is overreacting to a minor thing.
It sounds similar to fibromyalgia.
Somewhat, yeah, but this is very specific to one body.
That's why they call it the regional.
But you will have changes in like skin color, temperature, sensory, input. So there are findings you can measure in that way. I'm not sure, because this would be a for sure diagnosis if on an EMG, which is basically a muscle and nerve test or a nerve conduction test, if you can identify it that way.
Yeah,
because that would be a slam dunk. Like,
I would think so.
Now, a lot of the treatments are things like nerve pain medications, gabapentin, Lyrica, or now at least finally some pain managements are actual nerve ablation. So they'll do a nerve block where they'll inject something numbing into a very specific nerve and see if it helps your symptoms. If it does, they'll go back and they'll ablate that nerve, meaning they'll kill the pain sensors, not the motor sensors or those things. So there are some things nowadays, but access to the right person to get you the right treatment are still going to be very, very limited.
And I think a big part of probably the difficulty with that diagnosis and some of these other rare diagnoses is it's hard enough for adults to get diagnosed, but for a child to get diagnosed with these things, I think it's very difficult. There's very few pediatrician or pediatric doctors who specialize in those things. So you've got a lesser group of people who know exactly what's going on. It's harder to get access to them. They may not always see it on the first try. And then they've got months and years long wait lists because so many people are trying to get these rare diagnoses. So I kind of understand how this happened, but I think the hospital system maybe took it a little bit too far. And especially because I believe as of the end of the documentary, which I think, like I said, 2018, 2019, they were still fighting the hospital. They had not resolved the case. And that had happened, I believe, 11 years earlier.
She was an adult at this time.
Yeah, she was 18.
Adult. Yeah, she was a young adult and they were still going through this. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously you're trying to protect the child, but sometimes by doing that, or like you said, being like so laser focused, you've missed the big picture and you're destroying the family.
Right. You know? And I do understand there are doctors who specialize in medical child abuse. And so oftentimes they're called in when there's suspicion. So they're not the first one to flag it or to catch it. But it seems like in this case, she was one of the first doctors to see Maya. And so I feel like she was kind of already going in with that bias because that's what she does. So not necessarily trying to put too much blame on her, but I think she did take it a little farther than it needed to go. And the heartbreaking part, she wasn't even apologetic about it. And that's what I think really hurts the family because I think they just want someone to admit that they were wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
I made a mistake. I was wrong. I pursued this, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a crazy story. And watching that documentary, it's just, again, I mean, obviously the makers of these, they take you on all the highs, an emotional journey,
yes,
for sure.
And then, Munchausen by proxy, it does happen, but I do think there's this assumption that it's happening far more often than it actually is. I think other forms of child abuse are more likely than Munchausen, but when you're working in a hospital setting and that's your specialty, that's going to be what you look for first. It's that confirmation bias that we talk about a lot.
Absolutely. Well, yes. Yeah, the cardiologist is only looking for a heart problem. The gastroenterologist is only looking for a gut problem. And nobody's taking a look at the whole.
Right. And there are things that can be the whole system is affected. So unless you're having someone who comes in and is considering that, or a team who's considering that, you can end up in these situations. Yep. But it does seem like for the most part at the end of the documentary that Maya's health is somewhat better. So that's a positive for her. But at what cost?
Right. The whole family torn apart.
Yeah.
So that one was a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, a lot of bit of a bummer. It kind of sucked. There's this one part where the case gets delayed again and like the son is hysterical crying. He's like, I don't want to keep going through this. Like, why do we have to do this? And Maya really wants to give up, but they kind of rally and they're like, no, we need justice for our mother. We need justice for these other families. So I think that's really the takeaway from that is fighting for justice for people, even in the medical setting. Sometimes we have to do that, unfortunately. Yeah. All
right. Well, let's drink to
Maya. And Maya's mom.
Well, we're going to have to lighten it up.
I think we are going to lighten it up in our next segment. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to take a moment, reset, and get talking about our next subject.
So we're back, and I forgot to mention when we first started talking about Reckless Town Farm Distillery, they have amazing bottled pre-made cocktails. So I've had their mojito, which is delicious. I've also had one, it's called Love something. I wish I had the actual name of it, but it's kind of like a Cosmo, but a little sweeter. Delicious.
Sorry, I'm trying to make sure my microphone doesn't by moving it.
You got it? There we go. So yeah, they have amazing pre-made bottled cocktails. So if you're ever in the area, come and pick some up because they're worth it.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to walk out of here with some cocktails.
You probably will. Sure. I have the mojito in my fridge right now, and it's called Love Potion, I believe. That one's really delicious. I had that one last year. Yeah.
Number 9.
And the bottle, I believe it serves 6 cocktails, but if you cut it with club soda, you can get more out of it.
All right, don't mind me.
But this Southside Jane is delicious. I do love anything cucumber and alcohol flavored, so it's delicious. I mean, I like cucumbers too, but cucumbers and alcohol, even better.
All right. Hopefully this is good. Sorry, microphone problems. I thought I was smart by changing sides, and then I messed myself up.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Check.
Oh my God, she's so silly.
So really quick, just on an off thing. So my youngest child is doing hip hop this year.
Love it. Is she coordinated enough to do hip hop?
She is coordinated, but I don't know that she's got like the right attitude yet. She's got to get into.
Do I need to go over and help her out?
She needs to get into character, but it's pretty funny. Like, it's really cute. And wait, get this: her musical theater song, "Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?"
Oh my goodness!
Trench coats, hats, like
that's what I was for Halloween last year.
I am so excited that that's her dance.
That's pretty cool.
And then her jazz is a modern version of Hit the Road Jack. So
nice.
It's pretty cool. So, but I was like, this kid needs a little more like something for the hip hop. They're little, you know.
Yeah,
so.
That's fun. Well, if she needs some help, I'm happy to volunteer my services.
Okay, give her some lessons on like, I don't know,
and how to,
attitude.
Yeah, how to step into it.
All right. So, which of the next silly stories are we going to do? We said Rebel Royals and the Catfish one.
So, and Charlie Sheen.
Oh, and Charlie Sheen. Oh, you watched it?
Yes,
okay.
Of course I watched it. How could I not? Do you want to talk about Charlie first?
Sure.
Charlie, you know what? One thing I learned from watching that documentary is you want him to win. Like, he just has this, and I don't even want to call it charisma because that sounds negative. He just has this sense about him that, like, you want him to be okay.
So what's interesting is I find that he's very so. There's a patient of mine who has unfortunately had an issue with alcoholism over the years and whatever. And like, he's like, yeah, I'm just an asshole. I'm like, yeah, but you're a lovable asshole.
Right.
I feel like Charlie Sheen is that. Like, because the one thing I
don't find him to be an asshole, though. No, I know some people think he is.
But the one thing I noticed is that he must be a good guy because so many
people support him.
Stuck with him through all of it. What's the one friend of his, Tommy something?
The one who's not famous, yes.
He has been there.
From the start, from like 5th grade, right?
Right. Like, to be such a good friend for so many years, and for his ex-wife, like, to be so involved.
Which I'm a big Housewives fan, and so the Denise that you see, Denise Richards, we're talking about, the Denise that you see in this documentary is very different than the Denise that you see in Housewives. I know a lot of that is scripted, but I feel like you see the side of her that truly loves Charlie and wants the best for him and understands the struggle he's going through. She owns up to her own drama and things that happened. And I think it's really remarkable. They've been divorced for decades and she still really just wants the best for him. And I think that speaks to the real person that he is behind the screen persona, behind whatever. There's something about him that people root for him.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, per this, as of the airing of that, he was still doing really well. He said like 7 years or
8 years. 8 years sober as of the filming of the documentary, which I believe was last year.
Yeah.
And the other part of it, which this is an offshoot, I always knew that Martin Sheen was an actor and that he was handsome. But young Martin Sheen, hello, daddy.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
the older Martin Sheen.
I mean, current Martin Sheen's not bad.
Yeah, but like, you know,
it's kind of grandpa vibes for us. But he's still good looking. And did you know he will be at Comic-Con, Martin Sheen?
Oh,
he will be. Maybe if we could get free tickets to see Martin Sheen.
I'm a big fan of Grace and Frankie, and so
he was in that.
So
yes,
I love him for that.
And he's a really good actor.
Yeah. Oh no, he's been. I mean, The West Wing. I mean,
he's been in so much.
Yeah.
And I didn't really realize until the documentary how many times they've played father and son on screen.
Yeah.
And I wonder how psychologically that must impact their relationship too, because it seems like
Apocalypse Now, is that the big Vietnam movie or whatever it was? Yeah.
Yes.
He was young then, but he apparently had some of his own struggles.
He had an addiction struggle, and he had a psychotic break that was actually filmed and as part of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. I guess he's okay with it if he allowed that to happen, but it's kind of scary to think about that.
But you also see how many times he comes back into his son's life to like pick up the pieces.
He's always there to support him. Yeah, I mean, always.
Pretty amazing. I didn't see much about the mother, so I don't know much about her.
I don't know much about her. I did ask my mom about her because my mom was a fan of Martin Sheen and Charlie Sheen when he was younger, and I believe she's not in Hollywood or in the spotlight, so that might be why they don't talk much about her. They also don't talk much about his younger sister, which I didn't realize he had a younger sister.
Yeah, I know there's
his oldest brother is in the documentary. Emilio Estevez is not. He opted out, but he's mentioned, and everyone knows him also as an actor.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was shocked to know that they knew, like, he grew up with Sean Penn,
I
that
know,
they were friends with George
everybody-
Clooney. Like,
Sean Penn looked a little worse for wear.
I thought he looked rough, but then somebody else told me they thought that he looked hot. I thought he looked
no,
rougher than
he looked
usual.
worse for wear to me.
I mean,
There
he's
were
still a
couple
handsome
of-
man, but
there were
he's
a
looked
couple
better.
of other people who like
George
since-
Clooney.
since they were kids.
Yeah.
I guess if you have parents in Hollywood and you live in LA area,
Right, but they even said that like they lived like normal people. They
Right,
didn't
they
have an
didn't live in a
extravagant
big
house.
They
Yeah.
like were on the block. Like
With regular people. Yeah.
it was interesting. It gave me a for sure new perspective on him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on though his tiger blood break?
So it's hit or miss. I mean, they present it as psychosis, as an effective substance use, which is a thing,
And testosterone.
and
top of it.
testosterone use, which I don't know very much
Well, I
about
would say if you're
testosterone
not
use.
monitoring the levels and you're just taking it indiscriminately.
Yeah.
like,
Yes,
it's gonna-
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think looking back at his history, his biological history, knowing that his
Right.
father had issues, I question that maybe it's something more long term, like bipolar. I'm not his doctor, so I can't diagnose him. But I do think people who get addicted, they're not getting addicted for fun. They're self-medicating for something. And he, to his credit, he says he had a wonderful childhood, and he denies any significant trauma. And he does say, the impact of his father being a star and being in a lot of violent movies that had on him and his brother. But he does seem, for the most part, to feel like from his own perspective, that he had a wonderful childhood and a wonderful life. So
Really?
I wonder if this seeking substances is not just a factor of being part of Hollywood, but maybe something else.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think bipolar is probably his diagnosis. I mean, again, we can't.
Yeah, we're not diagnosing. We're just.
But that's my feeling, and substance abuse often goes hand in hand with that. So we see that a lot.
And then it would make sense that this kind of manic break that he had would be part of that, because bipolar can have episodes of psychosis. So it feels like that aligns a little bit better.
Using crack cocaine.
Yes.
Is going to exacerbate that mania and all of those things.
Which that was another part that I thought, it was a very, very small part of the documentary, but I thought it was actually very lovely how he talked about this woman who had introduced him to crack cocaine and how she was just a really good person.
Yeah.
And he talked about losing her. She did die from her addiction, and how that really impacted him. And I think that's really what a lot of people who are not in the addiction world or work with folks in the addiction world don't understand. These are good people who just made bad choices that have then led to bad choice after bad choice.
What do you think about his drug dealer?
I mean, honestly, I kind of loved his drug dealer. He was kind of sweet.
I know.
How he was like, oh yeah, I just made his 8 balls a little smaller. I'm
He's like, I got out of jail, and then someone said Charlie Sheen wants you to deal drugs to him,
and he's like, fuck yeah,
sure,
yeah.
And then they were like buddies,
and it seems like they're still friends.
But he also literally helped wean him off,
right?
Which is pretty crazy.
It is, but I also feel like, and they didn't go too into detail. It seemed to me like he was trying to get away from selling drugs himself. So I think maybe it was helping them both.
It was just.
Because if you're selling to Charlie Sheen, you don't need to sell to anybody else.
Right, exactly. Like,
he would literally was making like hundreds of thousands of dollars in a week. It was crazy. He said something like, what, $15,000 a night?
I don't even know. But he was like a very lovable guy. Like he's
very sweet with his little puppy who kept sneaking around. Yeah, he was a sweet guy.
He was just like a buddy hanging out with him. He would go and sit and do drugs with him and hang out with him.
Well, and I think that's part of it too. I think there's this negative stereotype about being a drug dealer, but people don't get into that business for fun either. You get into it due to circumstances, due to being desperate for money, needing to support yourself or your family. So I liked the way that it was taking all these things that have negative stereotypes for good reason, but showing the human side of it.
Right. No, it was absolutely crazy. At least in my perspective, I'm so glad I watched that documentary. Honestly, it took me, my opinion of him is completely different. I kind of superficially knew a lot of things.
Yeah.
But now, I said, he's a lovable asshole kind of thing. Not that he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That he's gotten a lot of trouble. He's always crashing and burning, but there's something about him that people love and who are close to him, not just fans of him.
Right. And the fact that 2 of his 5 children were in the documentary and talked about his struggles and where he's at now and showed that difference.
So did you know much about that Brooke Mueller, his wife?
So I knew a little bit about it. I did know, but then totally forgot that Denise had taken the twins when they had their own addiction issues. Yeah. I feel like I knew about it, but it didn't really sink in.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing for her to take her ex-husband's 2 children.
Yeah, from a different marriage.
For about a year. and keep them safe while they were dealing with the other stuff.
But I think that just shows, how much these people care about each other as people, not about the celebrity, not about the money.
Yeah.
They care about each other as people. And they want to keep their kids together. They want to keep their kids safe.
It's almost like he's always looking for, he has this like friends that are family, found family,
Yes.
even though he has family type of a group around
Yeah.
him. I didn't know much about her. Like, she was familiar looking, and I knew the name.
Yeah, and I knew that she had addiction issues, and she was very honest about her own addiction issues. So that was nice to see someone be truthful about it. Yeah, she seemed a little off.
Something,
But I will say, for those of you who watched Housewives, Denise has had her times where she's looked like that too, and I know that Denise is not really a substance user, so things can happen.
Say. Denise Richards is a beautiful woman.
Gorgeous.
She needs to stop putting fillers in her lips. I'm sorry, but she's
lots of
beautiful.
Hollywood is like that, though.
She doesn't need it.
She is, and I feel like she's stunning now. And
but it distorts something about that familiarity of her. I was like, it's her, but it's not her. If that makes sense,
right?
Like, I felt like I was like, you're great. Like, you don't need it.
Well, and I'm actually going to talk about that in a future episode about Hollywood and women's images and things like that. But yeah, but I feel like I was used to Housewives Denise, and I got to see a different side of her, which was really refreshing because I know I love the Housewives. I love all of them. And I know that even though it's unscripted, it is scripted. They cut things the certain way that they want to pursue them. And they haven't always pursued Denise in the most stable light, but I will say they haven't ever made her seem like a bad person either. So,
Yeah,
and they've always shown her as a good mother, which I do think she does.
I mean, I could see
she is.
that is the one thing in her life
Yeah.
that she focused on was her kids. Like, I saw that in the documentary. Her kids seem like they've done very well and they're very well adjusted, growing up with famous parents.
Yeah. And she did say that, like, sometimes she felt bad for her kids of having to live in this limelight, but she can't control that at this point. And it is part of their livelihood. It gives their children the lifestyle that they're used to. So it's that balance. I also thought it was really interesting, which I feel like they kind of skimmed over. Let's talk about Nick Cage and his shenanigans.
I'm trying to remember what the story with Nick Cage.
Driving the plane while drunk.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
WTF.
That was like a random, thing they started.
That's how it starts the documentary.
I was like, wait, what?
Drunk Charlie Sheen and Nicolas Cage driving a commercial flight. Imagine if you were on that flight.
The pilot was like, yeah, sure.
If you were on that flight, email us. I want to know.
What year was it? It was probably late 80s.
It was probably late 80s. So.
Yeah. He was friends with everybody. Like, all
he
of
was. Them. Well, what I loved was how he was like, oh, I was at this party and I heard this guy talking and I recognized his voice. And he was like, it was Nicolas Cage. And I'm like, automatically I thought of the voice. He has a very distinctive voice.
But it's interesting is he was friends with people outside of the limelight too.
Yeah, like him and Sean Penn were friends before they were both famous.
Right, when they were kids.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting. His whole life story is very interesting. And John Cryer came on, and he seemed, I guess,
he seemed conflicted.
I think because the last blow up kind of messed up his own career.
Yes,
like the show was never going to be the same after that. Like that was like. That show, 2.5 Men, was like everything at that time.
John Cryer said, he's like, this was my big deal. This was my big show.
Like, what was he since the 80s? He really wasn't much since then. And then he had this amazing
huge show.
And so that blow up took his livelihood away. So I think he was conflicted. Like you said, like, Charlie is the man, Charlie is the professional, like, with his own...
But I also feel like he wouldn't have been in the documentary if he didn't truly care about Charlie, which I think he does.
Right. No, I do. I didn't take away that it's that. I just think that it was kind of like...
He did seem like he was conflicted about talking about things. I just love how he started off. He's like, I used to have hair. And like, because he's bald. But yeah.
But they were like sort of the odd couple, typical.
They were.
Like that, the way their characters were played.
But I also...
in real life, they probably were too.
I was going to say, I feel like their characters were who they were. And that's why the show worked.
Yes, exactly.
But one thing, John Cryer did say, and many people said about Charlie Sheen until that very last break, regardless of what he was doing with his addiction, with his mental health, he was a consummate performer. Right, he would show up and he had it and he was good. And I think that speaks to, maybe that's what keeps Charlie in the limelight, is it comes naturally to him. It's part of who he is. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of celebrities out there like that. The first one that comes to mind is my poor Britney. I love you, Britney. I feel like some of the difficulty we're seeing her go through now on Instagram and things like that, I think it's because she's not doing what is natural for her. Right, she is a consummate performer. She's an artist. And I don't know how much of that she really gets to do anymore. And I completely understand and support her about why she chose not to do that. But it's, you think about this, you know, we idolize these celebrities, but what do they do on a random Sunday afternoon?
Right.
You know, what do they do when they're not working? And some people connect more meaning
Right.
to their work than others. And if they don't have something else, what happens to them?
I think their art is their outlet too.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as we talked about with the schizophrenia, genius and madness, it's the same thing sort of with this artistic ability, and sometimes some mental health or substance, it always seems to happen and clash.
Absolutely.
How many famous, you know, musicians have died by either suicide or drug overdoses,
Right.
you know, actors. There is a connection there of like that opening their creativity sort of.
Yeah. Speaking of, just want to say this before we cut this segment, is our girl Selena got married this
I
weekend.
know!
We love you, Selena.
I love her. She's
And
so adorable.
the pictures that you released, Selena, I know I'm talking directly to you because you're listening. Gorgeous. Perfection. Yes.
So just happy, beautiful.
Yes.
Got her like happy ending, like
Which she deserves.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love her, and I can't wait. Only Murders in the Building. That's my jam.
I know. I
love
haven't
my
watched
cute-
the last season yet. I've been
yeah,
holding
my
off.
Cute old men. I love it.
Yeah. Well, apparently they were at the wedding. So,
Well, they're like her, you know, uncle, grandpa,
Yeah.
besties.
yeah.
They're so
I wonder if Meryl was at the wedding since her
Oh,
and
I
Martin
forgot.
Short are now an item. Loving that too.
It's like from the screen to
Yeah, to real
reality.
life.
That's adorable. There's somebody who I just saw who's like one of Meryl Streep's kids. I'm like, oh, that's one of her kids?
Yes, Mamie Gummer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's another actress who's also in child who's in like some random show, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. She looks just like her. I think another like blonde, thin,
Yes.
similar face structure. I don't know her name. She was in some show about like being a doctor in like some island or something. I don't know. It didn't last more than a season. It was a good show. But yeah, I was like, so it's just something online. I'm like, oh, that's also her daughter. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I feel like there's a few actresses currently who are choosing not to use their parents' last name to kind of establish themselves and not be labeled a Nepo baby. Honestly, if my family was famous, I would be 1,000% Nepo
You have
baby.
a distant relative or cousin or something. Yeah, Google that.
Finally, it has happened
Hey,
to me.
that is a jam. What are you, if I saw heard that come on.
I mean, now it's on like an incontinence commercial, so
No, it is.
it is.
Is
Yeah,
it really?
yeah. It's for like Tena underwear. TM, sorry. This is not an ad. Not an ad, unless you want to pay us.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But it was a jam.
Yes, it still is a gem. Yeah, she had a couple other jams, but that was the main one.
That was the big one.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. I have no famous relatives that I know of. My mother
that
thinks,
you know of.
My mother thinks we're related to Jean Smart because my grandmother's last name was Smart, and she has a similar nose or facial.
She would be an
structure
amazing person to be.
related to.
Yeah.
I know. Nothing's come up on our genealogy on Ancestry, so
I mean, I'm assuming if you're Gene Smart, you're not on Ancestry.com. I don't think a lot of celebrities are, but
But you know, that side of my family apparently has been here literally since the Revolutionary War. So
Okay.
I'm sure there's a distant relation somewhere. Because Smart isn't a very common list.
Gene Smart, give us a call.
Yeah, there you go.
If you want to be a guest,
CC Pennison, reunite.
yes, we'll buy you guys drinks. Come on over.
All right, let's get ready for our next segment.
Yes. And
All
we're
right.
back.
New cocktails.
New drinks. What do you got?
I have Peaches and Corn, which is Bin Buster straight corn whiskey infused with peaches, peach nectar, the juice of lemon, aquafaba, and cardamom syrup.
What's aquafaba?
I've heard of it.
Something water. Fabulous water.
No, I've heard of it. It is a thing.
I'm calling it fabulous water.
It is. It sounds like Fabuloso, the cleaning stuff.
Aquafaba.
It's a thing.
Fabulous water.
I've heard of it, and I don't know what it is.
It must be good.
All right, what do we got for you? The citrus cooler punch. So Fever Tree lime yuzu soda, the juices of lime and pineapple, mint syrup, and Nicole went with for her liquor the Truck Farmer gin.
Cheers.
Yes.
Mm. No, that's actually like really nice. That wasn't just for the camera. That was actually good. How's yours?
It's tasty.
Do you want to try?
Very nice. Yeah, we'll take a little sippy sip.
There's something to be said about a giant ice cube.
There is something special.
That's
about
nice too. That's good.
That's tasty. That's light.
Very nice.
You're ready.
Yeah. So we are going to talk now about.
What were the two? There was the Royal Rebels and.
Let's start with Royal Rebels
Okay.
because the other one is
Whew,
girl.
a little bit special.
So did you watch Royal Rebels?
I did. And I
It's
have
a lot. It's a lot. So if you haven't seen it, Royal Rebels is also on Netflix, and it follows the Princess of Norway.
Yes.
and she marries a shaman.
Right, an American
African-American shaman.
Bisexual
Shaman, yes. And my favorite part of the documentary, by far, is when he's like, I thought I was going to marry a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't. He married a Norwegian princess. So
in the beginning, my thoughts in the very beginning was like, she's in love with the idea of him.
Right.
Like her gay bestie, we travel the world, we do really cool things. I didn't really know what his like motives were, and
Right.
I didn't know if it was like true.
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts in the beginning?
So my thoughts in the beginning, because they kind of go through like her background, she was always kind of like the black sheep of the royal family.
She was a little different. She like was more into mystical stuff.
Right. So I felt from the beginning that she was looking for someone to match that unusual energy.
Yeah. And
it didn't necessarily mean like a sexual match. It just meant like someone who gets me. Someone. Right. So like she apparently is psychic and has like a psychic training institute in Norway, which I don't know too much about Norwegian culture and how much they buy into that or don't, but it seemed like they interviewed people on the street and they're like, she's weird, she's crazy, but we love it. So they all love her. The country loves her.
No, I mean, she's cute, she's pretty. Her parents seem fairly supportive of
right.
all of this.
Which I really enjoyed that part of it.
Conservative monarchy type thing.
Yeah, like when he actually asked them for her hand in marriage and they said yes. They had some reservations, but they were honest with him and they said yes, which I thought that was very sweet because they don't necessarily know if all royal families are that progressive.
Right.
But they did have their concerns about him, and he speaks very openly about being the only African-American person in the royal family, about being from the U.S., being of his culture, of being a shaman, which I think he says he's a 5th-generation shaman. He basically alludes to that this has been something that's been going on in his family for some time, but then he doesn't really dig into the background of it. But he's kind of just going for it.
He sounds like somebody though who was self-made. Like he came out of like nothing and sort of got himself where he was. Like he's the shaman for like Gwyneth Paltrow and all these like famous people, and he's jet setting all around the world. So he made a name for himself. So it's not like he's with her for like the money, because he did his own thing to get where he was. So that's where I was like questioning, because he's like essentially up to this moment it sounds like he said I think I'm gay, and then now I'm bisexual. So I was wondering.
Well, and he's a little quirky, because at one point there's this interview with him, which he does say is taken out of context, but he's basically like, well, I would be with an extraterrestrial. So he's a quirky fellow,
he is,
but lovable.
But like toward the end, when I saw like how he interacted, so she was previously married and she has children, and unfortunately her previous husband, he had some mental health struggles, and he ended up dying by suicide. But the way that this guy interacted with her children, teen and adult children, was very genuine looking to me. Like it felt very natural. Like, oh, I cooked dinner or whatever. Like, so I felt like, all right, so maybe what I was thinking in the beginning, my initial judgment, which we all should probably judge right away, was wrong. And like, he was really in it for the right thing.
And I think maybe it was kind of set up in that way for the documentary, because at the beginning, they both seem very quirky and you're like, what is going to happen here? And then as you learn more about them and their journey and their relationship, you kind of get on board with them.
And then they were like, we're going to have the most fabulous wedding.
Well, no, he said, we're going to have the most fabulous wedding. She's like, I don't care. I'll just go, somewhere quiet. And he's like, no, girl, I want a royal wedding.
Right.
And then he wants like a makeup artist and his, designer suits and this and that.
He dresses very
very elaborate, but high fashion.
Yeah. But it was interesting because they actually, because the press, of course, it's the tabloids. Like, it seems like when they interviewed the actual people in Norway, we're like, yeah, we like them both.
Yeah.
But the tabloids were constantly like, like trying to make drama.
Well, and I think that's something that we don't have to that level in the U.S., but we know in the European countries, especially the UK, that's how Princess Diana died, was paparazzi chasing her. Right. So it's definitely a different animal in the UK. And I feel like we've talked about it a little bit in other episodes where they've done a lot of seriously illegal things to get after these celebrities. So I think that's kind of their bread and butter, the tabloids. In the other countries, where here in the US, we wait for the celebs to do something crazy and then we talk about it. We're not like pushing them into craziness. Right.
But then at some point, they actually took a step back and said, we're going to not do official duties and we're not going to be paid by the crown, and our wedding is going to be paid for by us, sort of.
Similar to Meghan and Harry?
Exactly.
Who I love you guys.
I do. And
I love you, Meghan.
How many people like hate on her? She's so real, but it's very similar actually. Their experience, an American, mixed race ethnicity, him being African American, coming in, stirring things up by just being themselves and normal.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I have some feelings on Meghan, your second season, but I still love you anyway. And I've bought all of your stuff.
And I read Harry's book, which
I didn't read his book.
I actually listened to it, so it's in his voice narrating,
nice.
Which is really nice. And learning about their love story and how
I love a good accent.
But yeah, it very much mirrored a similar thing where, like, yeah, the paparazzi, everybody, the establishment is against them, and it's like we're in a modern age where like people are going to expand beyond that, like conservative. Which
I agree with that, but also I agree with the other side of it is it's not like an American moved to Norway or to the UK in Meghan and Harry's situation and just married a commoner.
Right.
When you're marrying into royalty, that is something that is expected of everyone.
I understand.
And so
yeah.
I feel like if you're coming in from a different culture and you're not prepared for that, it's going to be rough, but you also have to do your own personal work on that.
Right.
And talk about what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. Because I think being part of a monarchy is a very specific way of acting and presenting yourself, and it's not for everyone.
Right.
And unfortunately, William and Harry didn't have a choice in that,
Right.
but their spouses did. And I don't know, I don't know if you saw, there was a royal butler who was talking about Meghan, and actually not the most negative way, but basically saying like she came in with this kind of Americanized idea of it being like being a Disney princess, and then she realized it wasn't like that and wasn't happy. And I feel like that's legit. Like he's not saying like anything negative about her. That's what us in the US think about the royalty.
Right. But I think by both of these couples making that decision, then fine, we're going to step away from royal duties and we're going to do it on our own. It's fine. Like that's like we're not going to accept the money, we're not going to accept whatever, and then we're not going to be held to that standard, and that's okay too.
But it also seems like the Norwegian royalty, we're still looking at, I know one of the big controversies right now is how Harry and Meghan don't have the security.
Right.
And so that's why they don't go back to the UK, which I understand. But I feel like in Norway, I don't think they're as chasing after people as much.
Right.
But I do feel like Harry didn't have a choice in this. He was born this way. So pulling away that security feels a little manipulative almost, because at the core, he just wants his kids to be safe. Right. He just wants his wife to be safe. Yeah. And it is factual, they will be chased after in the UK.
Absolutely.
They say it's not like that in California. I know it's a little bit more easygoing, but I'm sure they can't just run to Target.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think Megs is going to Target.
I think in one of the interviews that Meghan and him talked about, like having security and having they were staying in some famous person's house. We're going like on a different.
It was a long time ago that I watched that documentary. I know what you're talking about.
Staying in some famous, I can't think of it, sports rapper, somebody.
I know who you mean. It was someone's house in California. And that was during COVID too. I remember that. Yeah.
But anywhere you go,
having
to do that. But this whole thing with the Royal Rebels, it was fun.
Yeah.
I in the end, like their wedding, it was in this absolutely insane, gorgeous place.
Yes.
Like, literally, like waterfalls and. Right?
Well, I love how the assistants were like, so at this one point, they had agreed, was it Hello Magazine or OK Magazine? One of the UK magazines, they agreed to photograph the wedding. And so they had a contract, so no one else would be able to photograph them before the wedding.
Right.
But then they decided to get married outside, so then they had to like walk underneath blankets and sheets to like cover them, to hide them, so no one else could take pictures. And then somebody else is like, well, if they just got married inside, it wouldn't have been an issue. And I'm like, they didn't want to get married inside. Like,
and then the Queen and King were on the boat.
Yes, and like waved to them, which was like honestly very sweet.
Cute.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Like I said, I went through like the whole arc of like, I don't know what's going on here. Why are we both doing this? To like, hey, you know what? Live life. You're happy, you're happy. And then he was sick. He has kidney failure. So
yes.
He was on dialysis. He was going through a lot. You actually saw a change where he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Throughout. So he's probably on a kidney transplant list at this point because he's fairly young, right?
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I think, when we're talking in the grand scheme of things, they are an older couple. They're not in their 20s. So I think maybe some of that led to the acceptance as well. Like it was her second marriage. I think some of that too, especially when you're royal, there are these expectations, but we already saw that first marriage not work out. So I think maybe she got a little bit of leeway from that as well. Correct.
Sort of, I can't think of the word, but
he was a little extravagant himself. Yeah.
So I think She just has a...
So I guess the big question is would you marry a royal if you could go back? I know you're already married. If your man was royal, do you think that would change things?
See, I think I could fall in line. That's the thing.
I think you could fall in line.
I'm good with things like that. Like I could follow the rules.
You're a rule follower.
Yeah, no, I could fall in line. I could do it.
Are you going to wear pantyhose every day and curtsy?
Pantyhose?
Well, that's what Meghan said that she hated the most.
Like,
that's what Meghan said. She like did some interview recently where she's like, they brought me them in like the little stinking egg, and she's like, I was like, what is this?
Like, who still wears pantyhose?
But that's an American thing. We don't wear pantyhose anymore.
Yeah, I think I could do it. I think I could. I think also, though, I think like William and Kate, who are still in it, they've done a decent job of keeping their kids.
And I think they've modernized what being in the monarchy means.
So they've kept their kids, like they come out for certain events, but their kids, I don't see their kids
as much
plastered everywhere, and they've kept that family.
And they're still young.
Yeah, they've kept, well, their kids are similar ages to mine, because I remember our pregnancies overlapping with 2 out of her 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you could keep that family sort of protected, I think I could fall in line with all the pomp and circumstance.
Yeah. Although, well, I do think Louis is going to be the one to watch.
Oh, the little
He's the little rebel.
So cute.
He is adorable.
He is cute.
And people have already made comparisons between Charlotte and the Queen about their personality styles.
Okay.
So I'm like, good for her. She knows what she wants. She's not going to compromise. Because I do think that in itself, a lot of people didn't talk about, but Queen Elizabeth really changed what the monarchy meant by being a woman, by sticking by her opinions, by being vocal, by being caring. Yeah. So I think she made those changes that now laid for the changes.
Did you
for
watch The Crown?
Of course. I watched every single episode of The Crown. Of course. And I felt like of a lot of those type of shows, it ended well.
Yeah.
There was good closure. No, it ended with Diana. It ended with Diana dying.
There was one coming after.
Mm-mm. I mean, they might, but that was where it was supposed to end.
So well done, and I don't know, but from what I can tell, I feel like it's fairly close to the true story.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know about you, but I felt like being an American and having the American educational system, there was a lot of British history that I didn't know about or was very peripheral, and so we only heard little comments about. But hearing the whole story, like when there was that landslide, I never heard about that, and I was like, that's huge. And so I felt like the show added the drama to also the historical nature of learning about things.
It was interesting. So could you be a royal?
Probably not.
Maybe of an exotic place that had less royals.
Probably not. I don't think I would be as headbutting as some people, but I think I would struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm independent, so I like to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
Right.
But I'm not gonna like scream against the rules.
Right.
But I might be unhappy. And I feel like that was a little bit of what Diana went through.
Like Spain, like somewhere, I don't know. Where like it's a little
I know nothing about
more,
Spanish royals.
But no, just like something more, I don't know.
Well, and I will say, most royals these days, it's more of a name than actual
job.
Right. Yeah, it's more social duties. Yeah, but it's Parliament makes the rules.
Right. The prime ministers have to meet I learned this in the Crown.
Yes, that they have to meet with the Queen.
Meet with the Queen or King
to see what the crown would like.
And like, there is some overlay there, and obviously the money and the funding all comes from still the country. So I don't know in other countries what's left. You know,
I would like to say that I could be a royal, but being honest, well, one, I don't think I'd ever have that opportunity. I'm not that kind of girl. Sorry.
No, I mean, hey, wait, these two got married, and they were like what, in their 50s? Hey,
that's true.
Let's go, royals. Who wants to marry Nicole? You get like a cute, someone
from somewhere.
Country.
I don't need a royal, but I'm not going to turn one away. I'll put it that way. Yeah. But I think I would struggle similarly to the way that Meghan has struggled. Because I do think she wants to fit in and she wants to do that. But I think just being an American, they already had ideas about her.
Woman who made her own career.
And being I think too, if she hadn't been an actress, I think she might have been received a little bit differently. But I think there's a negative connotation to that as well.
All the stuff. Like, she's from a broken family. She's biracial. Like,
I'm sure you've seen how they said that she was plotting this when she was 20. I'm like, every American woman has been plotting to marry a royal since we were in our 18s. Yes. Yeah.
Hello, Cinderella.
I've been saying I was going to marry A-Rod forever. It didn't happen. It ain't going to happen. But because he likes mixed girls like me.
Cute.
Yeah. I remember when he was dating Mariah Carey, and my mom was like, oh, well, he would like you if he likes Mariah. I was like, me and Mariah, no. I don't see the comparison. Yeah, I don't have that pitch and range or those boobies. Sorry.
You can get them.
We love you, Mariah. Yeah, but...
Oh, my goodness. See, things always get more exciting on the second drink.
They do. They really do. Maybe we need to take a break.
We haven't eaten anything yet either.
And there's no food trucks here today. Singles here.
We misread the online information.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be pizza. There's no pizza.
No pizza.
That's okay. I might have some mints.
Yeah, my car. All right, let's break for the next.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
We're back. I just made a purchase, so I'm going to give a shout out. I bought the cherry pistachio lemonade mixer. So there's no alcohol in this, but you can mix it with just a seltzer or something as a regular drink, or mix it. He recommended bourbon or whiskey would be good given the flavors, or he said any clear liquor. So nice. I cannot wait to try this. I will let you guys know. It may not make it to our next recording because I do have to drink it within 3 to 5 days. So we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah. So we are back, and I think the last thing we have to talk about is the craziest thing.
Whew.
Unknown Number, the High School Catfish documentary on Netflix. I'm sure you guys have heard about it because it's all over the socials.
So much. I don't even know where to begin. You're better at storytelling, so you start with the storytelling.
Okay, so it starts off where we meet, I don't remember their names, I'm sorry, a young girl.
Yes. What is her name?
I don't know. Maybe here, Google it. We meet a young girl, Maddie. That sounds about right. We're going to call her Maddie for now. I'll correct if we need to. So we meet Maddie, who is a high school freshman.
Right. She's pretty young.
And she is dating a young man. Oh, we clearly didn't prepare for this.
That's why this is a...
Okay, here we go. Lauren.
Oh.
Not Maddie, sorry. So Lauren is dating Owen.
Okay.
And they are high school freshmen, and they've been together for, I think they said, like, at least a year.
Yeah, like they were
a while.
Little baby dating sweethearts.
But still, like, longer than most marriages, honestly.
Yeah.
So they've been dating, and they begin after a Halloween party that apparently Lauren was not invited to, but Owen was. Owen went to the party.
Right.
And after this party, they started receiving disturbing text messages that were sexual in nature, that were
just degrading.
Violent, degrading, telling them to kill themselves, had a lot of violent sexual content, inappropriateness. And right away, they both told their parents, were trying to seek help, trying to figure out who was doing it. And they continue to get these messages for, I think,
so there was like
years.
There was like a pause.
Yes.
So it happened very acutely. Then there was a few months pause. And
yes.
then it started up very, very intensely.
Yeah. And so the documentary follows these 2 kids and their families, or their mothers at least, trying to figure out who was sending these text messages. There's a lot of red herrings, I will say, in the documentary about, oh, it was this girl. Oh, it was this girl. Oh, it was this person. It's none of those people.
Yeah, it was, this girl who's on the basketball team. It was this one's cousin.
And Lauren was on the basketball team, so it was like, okay, this person knows her. They know her movements. Then it was a family member because there were some photos that were sent to them about from a family party. A lot of things. And should we just jump to the spoiler alert? But y'all know the spoiler alert because it's been all over.
You know how intense,
kill
yourself.
Yeah, there were text messages to Lauren about how she should kill herself. There were text messages
or something like that.
Yeah, there were text messages about the type of sexual acts that they should engage in.
Right.
And these were going to both Lauren and Owen, so both young children.
Eventually, it actually drove them to break up.
Yes.
And then he started receiving them after he met another girl, out of town.
Yes.
And she started receiving them, too.
Yes. So I believe by the time we figure out who the culprit is, multiple children were receiving these text messages. And the
school principal, the police were involved, both sets of parents were involved.
Doing a huge investigation into this. And then the police brought in a forensic IT expert who really cracked the code on all this and determined that it was Lauren's mom, Kendra, who was sending the text. That's what everyone else thought when we watched the documentary, and there was it was her mom. Everybody's like, what?
So, yeah, I mean, when the police came to the house and like the mother and the daughter.
So there's body cam footage. That's how we know what went down.
Right. They're in this temporary home. They had moved home.
So one thing I have to ask you, because I told my mom about this documentary, I told Deb about this documentary months ago. Like right when it first came out, I watched it. I told her about it. She forgot and then watched it and called me. And she's like, oh my God, did you see this? I'm like, girl, I told you about this already.
Yeah.
But she caught onto the same exact thing that I caught into. During the body cam footage, did you see the backgrounds?
There wasn't much in the house. I remember that.
There was like a folding table covered in liquor.
Oh.
And
okay,
multiple
yeah.
small children live in this house.
Yeah.
And the police didn't say a thing about it, so I don't know if...
I did see that. The house was kind of like, said, half moved into feeling.
Yeah.
And
but I mean, like, there were hundreds of bottles of alcohol. Now, we both have a lot of alcohol in our houses.
Right.
But,
that's only for the podcast. I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
exactly. It's a business expense.
Both of our liquor cabinets, since we started the podcast, are at the seams.
We make a lot of cocktails, guys, and we need a lot of ingredients.
Like,
feel free to donate at our Patreon.
I was mostly drinking wine and only drinking cocktails when we went out, and then
Same.
now I'm like, I need this, I need this, I need this ingredient.
And I feel like I drink more cocktails now than wine.
Yeah. But it was weird, like, the mother and the daughter were both sitting on, like, these counter stools.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he tells them, like, we figured it out. It's you, the mother.
It's you. You did it.
The daughter doesn't react.
So I read an article that came out after the documentary, and apparently the daughter had started suspecting the mother about 2 weeks before that.
Okay.
So it was kind of already in her minds. She didn't know for sure, but it was already kind of leading that way.
Like if you've met a teenage girl, things are usually not that subtle. And I imagine there'd be crying and screaming and like, you ruined my life. Like,
I thought the same thing.
Like, even like myself, like right? Like, yeah. I would be like, you ruined my life. Like, yeah. What are you doing?
I thought the same thing, but then in this article, they did say that I believe police had talked to her one-on-one about 2 weeks before, but they didn't have any solid information at that point. But it was already in her mind that it was possibly her mom.
It just felt so cold, and maybe that's because of the mother and the connection and sort of that enmeshment, as we talked about in a previous episode.
Attachment issues.
Something there, because she did not react in the way I thought she would. She seemed flat throughout the documentary, honestly.
She did seem a little flat. My impression was that it was maybe more of shock.
Like a just coping, like, let me just shut it off sort of thing.
Well, and we should say, as far as we can tell, this was happening in real time. So this is now footage that is being taken after and made into a documentary. So it's not like she knew she was on camera. Most of the time, I don't think people are aware that they're on a police body cam. So, because it is very small and usually concealed. So
it was just very, that got me.
But I felt like the father's reaction was over the top.
Yeah.
It was a good reaction, but I felt like it was a little dramatic.
About the mother's job and not about the fact that.
Well, that was a big point of it. Was that this whole time she had been saying she was going off to work when she was actually stalking her daughter and fellow other teenagers.
And they had bills piling up and they lost their house, and you know, there was a lot that happened in their marriage.
Which I think I was assuming all that alcohol. I thought maybe the dad owned like a pub or a bar or something. Maybe. I might have made that up in my head. I don't know.
But I mean, the father in the end was the one who's supportive and like.
Yes, and he, told the mom she had to leave. And what I thought was really touching about that one, like, very volatile scene is he called the mother's parents and said, like, you got to pick her up. And, like, was like, I can't let her go off on her own, but you got to take her. So, like, I feel like there's still some love there. He's looking out for her. He's trying to protect her, but also, like, this woman batshit crazy.
And she's got to be out of my sight right now because I need to control myself.
Which is good. And there were police there, and they were trying to keep things in line.
Because
I think
he really did keep it.
But I think at one point the police officer said something to him, like, let's take it down. And he did. So I think he was trying to hold it together for the daughter, at least.
The daughter. I mean,
and she did have siblings.
There's other kids, and then the mother did go to jail for this, but not for long.
Yeah, I think my struggle with the documentary, even now, having watched it weeks ago, and now it's all over social media and processing it, is I don't feel like her reasoning was legitimate.
Oh, my own trauma caused me to traumatize my child.
But like her trauma didn't align with, and I know trauma is not so linear. It's not logical. But her trauma that she confesses to, so I'm not making this up, she does share in the documentary that she had been raped as a teenager. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, if you were raped as a teenager, wouldn't you want to not tell your child to go get raped?
Right.
but she told her child to go get raped.
I've seen this elsewhere, and again, we cannot diagnose, but I definitely got borderline personality vibes in that creating sort of something to put the attention on. I'm trying to help my daughter, like almost like.
Well, and she did insert herself into the investigation early on,
Right.
which we all know from watching serial killer documentaries and murder documentaries. The perpetrator often inserts himself into the investigation. But I think also in retrospect, the police did say that they actually suspected her first, but they didn't have any proof. And I think for a little background for those who haven't watched it is she did work in IT. So she did know how to conceal things and how to manage things using IP addresses.
Burner phones, different things like that, VPNs, whatever it is. Yeah. It's like crazy. So like the psychological.
I mean, I think for me, the most heartbreaking scene is the last scene of the documentary where the daughter says she misses her mom and she wants a relationship with her. But at that point, isn't there a restraining order of some sort?
They hadn't seen each other in person.
There's like a no contact order.
They communicated a little bit. No, they were allowed to have some communication because I think the daughter must be 18 by now.
Yeah.
But the emotional fallout from that, like, not us. Yeah. The emotional fallout, like she struggled through significant years of her like growth and development. Like this is your high school formative years, and we all know that those are trying years to begin with.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny you said before that she was kind of flat throughout, and someone not so subtly early on in the documentary made this comment that made it seem like they thought that she was on the spectrum.
Oh.
But I also feel like regardless, being on the spectrum would make it even less likely for you to do these manipulative things.
Right.
And that counts for both the daughter and the mother because they both had unusual affect throughout, I will say.
Both of them. But again, that could be sort of just...
It could be having to go in front of a camera and talk about your trauma. It could be wanting to act a certain way and not knowing how to fix your face. I don't know how to smile, so... It's true.
I do find, this is just random offshoot, that video and actual real life, I like the way I smile and look better than a frozen picture.
In real life? Oh, yeah. Yeah, on video. Yeah, I hate photos of myself, so. Yeah. But that's a thing. So, Unknown Number was insane, and I think since it really got popular, because it wasn't popular originally on Netflix, and then it kind of got an uptick. And so now it's all over social media. There's hundreds of TikToks about, literally before we set up, we were trying to coordinate the pod TikTok, and I had like 4 TikToks about Unknown Number show up on mine, on my FYP.
It's a lot. I mean, all these sort of documentaries, I mean, there's a reason these stories are so gripping.
Right.
They are so out there.
And I really do love documentaries because they're true stories about these bizarre things, but these are real people. And they have real lives and it's real fallout. And so that's what makes it so compelling.
It's interesting, in the past 20 years, I would say documentaries, and think about what a documentary was when we were growing up. It was like some boring
it's changed.
thing about like something.
Well, it used to be about like the ice caps or like something. Now it's more about people and their experiences.
So it's interesting. I don't know if you recall that when I was in grad school, my boyfriend, he was on the side making documentaries.
Yes.
And now it's like the blow up. He's made, I think, at least one other since it actually did pretty well in the film festival circuit. But it's just interesting because he was sort of ahead of his time in seeing this as a medium that has now become the big medium that we
But I think it's become a medium because it aligns with reality TV, which everyone loves. So it's a reality TV taking out those unscripted moments and talking more about the difficult issues that people have.
Sort of like the investigative podcasts have almost taken into that too. These ones that follow an entire series about one particular crime or one particular story, and they do multiple episodes investigating it.
Yeah.
Similar concept to the way a documentarian lays out their story.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's because we realize that human beings, were so nuanced, so we can't just tell a story in a one-off. We need to dig in deep and look at things to truly understand what people are experiencing.
So a fun little book recommendation, Listen for the Lie.
Yes, I read that.
Did you? I
just
literally finished.
I read that last year.
2 days ago.
# book of the month. It was a book of the month.
It was a book of the month.
Uh-huh.
But that was a fun, interesting way to look at like a podcaster / following a crime and seeing where in the end the investigative journalism sort of has become in the podcast medium. So
yeah, well, I just really like that twist at the end where so the plot of the book is this woman went to this private high school and
town, yeah.
small town high school. And there were some questionable things with a particular teacher. And then a student.
No.
Yeah, Listen for the Lie was about the teacher. Now I have to look it up.
Oh. It's about a murder at a wedding.
No, that's what I'm getting to. And then that what they look back and they think that this teacher was a suspect, but he wasn't. Now I'm like, what am I talking about? I feel like there was a teacher involved. Basically, whatever I'm thinking about is they're assuming this one teacher has done it because he was kind of questionable, but he's actually innocent the whole time.
That's something else, but you're mixing
I'm mixing my genres.
Yeah. Listen for the Lie is the podcast
by Amy Tintera.
Yes, who comes to a small town. He's investigating this, and the girl who was the main suspect in the crime,
the murder of her best friends.
She's moved away to LA. She
yes.
comes back for her grandmother, talks her into coming back for her birthday, but there's no teacher. In the end, it's a
there was
friend.
Something about the teacher. Now I need to find the book that I'm talking about. So
sorry, spoilers on multiple books there.
You talk. I'll find the book.
I'm not good at just talking to a camera here.
Yes, you are.
I need my
It'll just take a second. I have my Book of the Month app on. No internet connection. I can't get it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I currently am reading, actually, you know how J.K. Rowling wrote other books under the pseudonym Robert Galbraith?
No, but I have issues with J.K.
I know, but I do like her books. I'm sorry. So I do really like this series. It's about a private detective and his partner and all of their stuff. And it's like 900 pages.
That's 800 pages too many.
I just finished a book that was 677. And I was like, and I'm like, why did I jump into a 900-page book? I don't know.
It's too many.
I think I'm like 15% done in like a day. So
good for you.
But the weekends, my percentage of book reading is much higher. And then on the weekdays, I read like 2 minutes before I fall asleep and then my eyes close. So it's like a page, 2 pages.
I have not been reading as much lately, as not as much as I would like to, but that's because I'm writing multiple 25-page reports a week. It's hard to do that. Yeah. I love my job, but it's just hard to write that much and then read for fun. Read for funsies is hard. Yeah, my brain can't brain that much. I'm trying to find what that other book is, but there's no internet access outside.
Sorry.
I'll get there.
That's
don't
a
worry.
Spoiler for some other book.
It's of the similar genre because it does involve a podcast.
Okay. There's another one I have to remember. It's like someone writing a book. It's like a book within a book within a book.
A book within a book.
And I read like
the only book within a book I can think of is The Power. Remember we talked about that a couple episodes.
No, this was like a little mystery series. I think it was UK as well. I like my British characters.
Do you read them with a British accent?
No. Well, in these particular, so it's interesting. In the one I'm reading now, the two main characters, they may use words. I think we need to use the word proper more because I think the UK uses that a lot. Proper. Yeah. Okay. I think we need to use that word more. But then they meet some other people with more, like, we'll say, like, Cockney accents or one of these others, and then they write it all with, like, apostrophes and all this, and I'm trying to understand in English what it is they're actually saying.
It is English.
It is.
It's the Queen's English.
Well, no. It's very, like, interesting dialect, and I'm like, what am I seeing? So actually, we were talking briefly off camera about adolescents.
Yes.
And their accents, I ended up, this last 2 episodes, putting subtitles on. Because I was like, sometimes their accents are
when they talk fast, it's hard. Yeah.
I'm like, I missed something. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
So subtitles for English, sometimes right.
Sometimes, yeah.
Did you find your book?
I'm looking for it. Let's see. So many books on my read list. This isn't the book I was thinking of, but did you read God of the Woods? That was a book of the year. That's a really good one. You might like that. Is it Dark Corners? I don't know. I'm so confused. I don't read that many books to confuse them.
I literally finished it 2 days ago, so I know exactly what
happened. Yeah, I don't read that many books in a year to get 2 of them confused at once, but Final Girl Support Group? No,
but I've heard that one. I have to.
That one's good. I like that author, Grady Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
Writes a really good...
Did you read My Best Friend's Exorcism?
Yes. And did you read Horror Store?
No, I have it on my list.
That one was so good. Oh.
He's the vampire, whatever.
Yes,
guy
Southern Guide to Vampires. Yeah.
I know. Maybe I should go to one of his books next because it's the right season for it because he's all spooky horror.
He was at Comic-Con last year. I don't think he's going to be there this year.
Maybe my next book I'll grab one of his because I have other things.
So I can't find the book, but Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance was also a good one that you may like. That is by Alison Eposh. I'm just looking through my list of what I've read this year and last year. Did you read Girls with Bright Futures? That's a good one. That is a fictionalized account of Ted Bundy's victims. So it's really good. I have some questions for you. That's the one that's about the podcast that involves a teacher. Okay. That's not the same author though? Okay. They came out around the same time though. I will say that for sure. We're mixing stories. Sorry about that.
Goodreads on my phone and we're using that for recording.
It's okay.
My Goodreads is where I remember, oh yeah, I read that book. Oh yeah, what's interesting is I can enjoy something that I've watched or read, but not be able to recall details.
Yes, which I think a lot of people are like that. Unless it's fresh. Yeah, it can be hard.
Like, I'm very difficult to explain something or tell a story. Like, I get the gist of it, I remember certain things, and then when I watch or read it again, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. But like, I don't retain that full story in the same way that some people can retell something. I'm really, my brain doesn't do it.
I think for me, it depends on like how long it's been or how much I identified with the characters or like really latched onto a character. So like I read The Appeal. Have you read The Appeal?
I feel like maybe, possibly.
And that,
again, if you refresh me, I might be like, maybe.
That one I couldn't tell you what it was about, but I know I thoroughly enjoyed it when I was reading it.
So, interestingly enough, like say a patient, so maybe they're newer and I don't remember their name. But if I look at my chart note, I remember the story. I'm like, oh, they're the one who works here.
Exactly.
He's cousins with that patient, and they had this weird medical problem. But like, I might not like just on recalling the name, know who it is. Like, I can remember a lot of things about a lot of, but yeah, telling a story back, like in the exact order it happened, I'm not very good at. Maybe I wouldn't be a good witness to it.
Well, we know that eyewitness accounts are not appropriate, so that's okay.
Yeah, I might not be very good at that.
That's okay. Yeah.
You're better at the storytelling, for sure.
I try.
But I think that's because you write as well, or you have written in the past, so your brain works in that way.
Yeah, I try to think of, even though I know the end or I know the twist, I try to make sure how to lay it out in a way that you don't necessarily see it coming. It's been a while since I've written. I miss it. I need to find more time for that. I need to carve out the time for it. Yeah.
You don't have time for anything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we did a lot on this episode, so I think this will be about an hour at least.
Yeah.
4 segments, right? All right. So from Reckless Town Farm Distillery, get it right?
I believe we're in Columbus, New Jersey.
Okay. Southwest New Jersey.
Yes.
Pretty much almost Pennsylvania.
Almost. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, thank you for listening to Medical Media Mixer.
The perfect cocktail. Cheers.
Empty drink. That's right.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Medical Media Mixer podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps others find the show. Want to keep the conversation going? Follow us on social media. We're at Medical Media Mixer Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and on Pinterest, the Medical Media Mixer board.
If you'd like to support the show and help us grow, check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Medical Media Mixer Podcast. And on Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Medical Media Mixer Podcast. If you have a topic idea, feedback, or just want to say hi, send us an email at medicalmediamixer@gmail.com. You can also stream all of our episodes and find more info on our website, medicalmediamixer.podbean.com. We're available on all major podcast platforms, so no matter where you listen, we're there. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep mixing medicine and media.